All right, here's the last couple problems we have for this lesson. So I want you to verify, doing our trig identities, our verifying trig identities. We want to prove that the sine of 3 pi minus x is the same as the sine of x. All right, so it relates to this section because this is a difference formula for the sine. So we're going to use the formula, the sine of x. No, let me not use x because x is in the problem. The sine of u, cosine of v, minus the cosine of u, sine of v. All right, that's our formula. Where 3 pi is my u, v is going to be my x. So I'm going to go to cosine, or not cosine, plug in. I'm going to go to the sine of 3 pi, cosine of v, minus, make that an x, the cosine of 3 pi, sine of x equals the sine of x. That's where I'm going. So I plugged in my u and my v into my sum difference formula. So sine of 3 pi is over here, which is the order pair negative 1, 0. So the sine of 3 pi is 0 times the cosine of x minus the cosine of 3 pi is over here on the left, which is negative 1 sine of x. 0 times cosine of x is 0. A negative negative 1 sine of x. I verified my identity. So all I did is I took this trig identity, this trig equation, expression. I wrote it as a difference formula, plugged in my u, which is 3 pi, my v, which is my x, evaluated the pieces that I could, and I got what I needed. I got it equal to sine of x. All right, the last one we're going to do is we're going to solve. We're going to solve on the interval from 0 to 2 pi, counting 0 and going up to 2 pi. So what I see when I look at this problem, hopefully you see it too, is I have two pieces. I have a sum formula, and I got a difference problem that need to be subtracted. So I'm going to have to expand both of these pieces and subtract them. All right, so the sine of x plus pi over 6 is my formula. The sine of x times the cosine of pi over 6 plus the cosine of x sine of pi over 6. All right, so that's my first piece. I expanded it using my u and my v being x and pi over 6. Now for my second piece, it's the same formula except this sign here is going to change. So I have the sine of x cosine of pi over 6 minus the cosine of x sine of pi over 6. And I'm trying to solve this equal to a half. All right, so what I'm going to do next on each of these, I'm going to evaluate the pieces that I can, and I'm going to distribute this negative sign. So over here in the first piece, let's do pi over 6 over here. Pi over 6 is square root of 3 over 2, 1/2. All right, so I'm going to go cosine of pi over 6 is square root of 3 over 2. Sine of x plus 1/2 cosine of x minus, because I'm going to distribute at the same time, the square root of 3 over 2 sine x, distribute, plus 1/2 cosine x. All right, so what I did is I evaluated the pieces I could, and they became my coefficients. So square root of 3 over 2, 1/2, square root of 3 over 2, 1/2. And like I said, I distributed that negative side. So this piece was negative, this piece becomes positive. All right, so next, square root of 3 over 2 sine x minus square root of 3 over 2 sine x cancels. 1/2 a cosine plus 1/2 a cosine is a whole cosine equals 1/2. Now I'm going to solve. I know the cosine's positive in the first and the fourth quadrant. My ordered pair that has 1/2 comma something, because cosine's my x value, is 1/2. That's pi over 3. So my x is going to be in the first quadrant, pi over 3. And in the fourth quadrant, 5 pi over 3. And those are my two answers. So for this problem, we took these two pieces, expanded them, and subtracted, cleaned it up as much as I can, got cosine to be a half, and I know that's pi over 3 and 5 pi over 3. Those are my two solutions. All right, those are the last two videos. So if you have any questions, send me an email. Let me know. If not, I will see you in class.